I've been doing some recording and writing today in several arenas of my life where I have some influence that I need to be a good steward of. But I have this observation that just sort of, it would have been a crumb that fell off the plate if it weren't so powerful. And it's for my writer and speaker friends, people from the benefit and from the viewpoint of communication. So the topic today has been the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. And it goes to the issue of empathy. So I wrote about it from a political point of view. I wrote about it from a ministry leadership point of view. I wrote about it from the point of view of people who are making policy decisions, and I wrote about it from just a very general point of view, how we live as directed by the Bible, those of us who are followers of Jesus. And some of you follow me or are not followers of Jesus. And you're welcome to learn from Jesus as I could learn from whatever your faith is and do so very often. But when I think about Jesus wept, I think about a time when I was teaching a class, and I taught thousands of people in this class over a 5 year period. It was a side hustle of mine, traffic school, people who had had traffic tickets. It helped me build my platform. It helped me refine my skills, and it put some money in my pocket, and it gave me the opportunity to talk for 8 hours, or at least lead discussions for 8 hours. But I learned pretty early on something that I had learned in pastoral ministry. I realized that it applied to 30 to 40 people who were sitting in a room on a Saturday or a Wednesday or an evening. And I wanted them to know two things. I wanted them to know, well, three things really, that attitudes plus values equal behavior, or values plus attitudes equal behavior, and that if we can align our values and our attitudes, our behaviors will be safer. They'll be safer for other people, they'll be safer for ourselves, and safety was the main reason we were there, and was the reason why we had traffic laws in the first place. The second thing I wanted them to go away from was a very particular thing. I wanted them to never even consider driving or riding in a car without buckling their seatbelt. And that's been a long time passion of mine. When I was 17 years old, lost a loved one, and he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and lost a number of people in my life uh, who would have lived if they'd been wearing seatbelts. And then the third thing I wanted everybody to remember was to never even consider drinking and driving. In fact, to consider it, but consider it enough so that you ruled it out of the equation. And that was the other thing I'd learned from my loved one. The other driver was drinking and driving. And from the very first drink that we take, our ability to assess whether we're okay to drive is impaired. Now, how do you get these hard truths across to people in a room where they are there because an officer, maybe somebody with a bad attitude because he'd already written 100 tickets that day, or she had? Forgive my overgeneralization. Back in those days, it was usually the he that had written it, but it's certainly not always true. Glad it's not. My cat's up here. I guess we need to get used to that. She just likes to show up. But how do you get across? Some people think that they've gotten a raw deal. Some people think that it's a chicken ticket. Some people think it's a bother. Most people think it's going to be a waste of time. And I want to make it not a waste of time. I want them to have a good time. I want them to laugh. I want them to learn by enjoying the process. I want them to make new friends. I want them to be able to network. Hopefully, I want them to be able to do something that'll put a buck in their pocket because they met someone that I know I met people. I did a lot of great networking there in traffic school class and built some good relationships that lasted. Most of them, we all forgot each other, but I bet they remember me more than I remember them, but because they remember sitting there for 400 minutes. But how do you do it? And here it is. Jesus wept. I wanted my heart to be broken if I even heard through the grapevine that somebody that sat through my class died in a traffic accident because someone was drinking and driving and because they weren't wearing a seatbelt, or they weren't paying attention because their values weren't aligned along with their attitudes. But the reason Jesus wept was noted by the observers that day at the grave of Lazarus. And I haven't mentioned it in any of the other talks or blogs that I've written on this subject today. They remarked, "Oh, how he loved him." They said, "Wow, he sure did love this man, Lazarus. He really cared about him, didn't he?" And so I remember walking in and praying over and over again. Not a big prayer, not a heavy duty prayer, but a very important prayer. Oh God, love these people through me today. I never considered that my love was adequate. So I wanted God's love to flow through me. And I've thought about that the many times I have stepped up on the platform to speak, stepped or sat down in front of a microphone or behind a microphone to speak, or put my fingers on a keypad to write something. God loved through me. May your love flow through me, and may it transform me, and may I have a love for the people on the other end of that microphone or that keyboard. If I love them, I can speak to them. If you love them, you can speak to them. And that's the key. And that's the ticket. All the best to you.